Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic.
Okay, we're saying enter instead of go now, are we?
Yeah, enter the Liger's den.
Come into the Ligers den. Pitch us your idea for a bad take.
I told you someone came up to me in my house. They're at my house, and they were like, "Hey, I've only talked to you like once at the Debenhams thing, but I'm completely Liger-pilled."
Yeah, you said that. Are you comfortable saying that on the podcast about an individual, a human being?
Yeah, the
if they know that
Liger-pilled
they can hear
individual. They're anonymised.
Yeah.
So if anyone else is Liger-pilled, write in to celticligers@gmail.com.
I was thinking
or visit
about
our website at
www.celticligers.com
or
.com,
follow us on Twitter at Celtic, what is it?
Ligers. Yeah.
.twitter.edu.eu.
Yeah, and then also patreon.com/Celtic Ligers.
And don't be afraid to Snapchat or, any of these new ones. Get us on. You see, someone on TikTok was threatening Ming Flanagan.
I saw that, and he went to the guards, and then he was like, "Oh, it turns out the guy's like a teenager." And he's just said like, we've all been there. I don't hold it against him. And but no, he didn't threaten. He didn't threaten Ming Flanagan. He threatened his 7-year-old daughter.
Oh, right.
So that's why Ming was like, "I'm going to go to the guards about this."
Yeah,
probably.
that's fair enough.
And then he found out he was a teenager. He was like, "Look, I understand. That's that then,
Yeah, I have the lifestyle of a teenager, so I understand.
I have the mindset of a teenager. I understand. And God bless him that he does, because
someone has to.
Someone has to keep that youthful.
Keep the truck ploughing.
Yeah.
Why is he called Ming? Do you know? Like Ming the Merciless.
Don't know.
Is it because of his beard?
No. I thought it was like. I guess I always thought it was like. There's a lot of people in Galway who were just like. I don't know where he was based, but ultimately, like, they're all these kind of white middle-aged guys who suddenly found like some sort of spirituality, and then they adopted these, middle names or things that they're known for. That's what I thought it was. I didn't know it was a nickname.
The only famous Ming is either the Vaz or the Ming the Merciless.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly thought it was like
Cat
Stevens, Yusuf Islam, But he had like. I'm trying to look it up on Wikipedia to see if anybody's.
Yeah.
Because it is unusual.
Right in to Gareth Lyons Kilkenny
at gmail.eu.
You know the way people do that thing where they're just like, look at this letter, on post really are Irish, and it'll be like, you're a man who lives with his mum.
Yeah.
It's like, I just like Gareth Kilkenny.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll find it, only in Ireland, you know what I mean?
I think Alison did a very funny thing where she in one of her show, the one, what was it called? It's called, I can't remember the name of it, but Shane Clifford was in it.
No.
But anyway, there was one where she did that, and she tried to see if she could get a letter to Kevin McGahern, and she literally just wrote like, "Your man off Republic of Telly," and then the county that he was in, and it managed to get to him.
That's funny.
Something like that.
I was listening to a really good podcast about the actor from
sorry, just interrupt. Ming the Merciless is actually what that was in reference to, so there you go.
But it was about the actor from Passion of the Christ,
Jim Caviezel.
Yeah. He's really, really, really into QAnon.
Really?
Like massive.
I did not know that.
And the podcast is called QAnon Anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do like a bit of research. And so the guy who was doing it, he interviewed a lot of people who had worked with Jim Caviezel on this TV show. And they were like, he's exceptionally stupid and exceptionally mean-spirited.
Yeah.
And they just described this guy, like in the TV show, he's playing a character who's like a police officer, like a sort of CIA guy as well. And they said like once he's like say he was in the driver's seat of a car, and they were like, okay, you just pull up, right? We'll get the shot. And then he like kept just like slamming down the accelerator and like nearly killing people. Really? And like I think he actually hit someone, and they're like, why did you do that? He's like, it's what my character would have done. And they're like, well, you don't always have to do what the character would have done. You can just follow it. So like they don't let him drive a car. They don't let him hold anything remotely close to a gun, because like they were using blanks and he kept putting it in like the other actor's mouth and like pulling the trigger, which is really dangerous.
Yeah, it is. You can, as we know from In Bruges, you can actually blind somebody.
Yeah. And then whenever they need to do a stunt, they just put a balaclava on a stunt double, because they're just like, he can't. But anyway, he's massive into QAnon.
You know, one that I was thinking about during the week is that sometimes people have these stories about like difficult actors, and then when you hear the story said by the director, then you suddenly think like, I don't know, I kind of get what that actor is doing or saying, you know? Like one of the ones like for ages, because I kind of used to be, I wouldn't say I was a fan of Kevin Smith. Certainly wasn't a fan of his films, but I definitely thought that he was
like
like...
podcast.
I actually think I remember listening to that, and then but it took a long time for me to really realize like this guy is the worst. What the hell? Like I just bought into the lore for some reason.
I like that picture of him in the jean shorts, but that's about it.
Do you know what I was seeing today? He directed an animated movie of He-Man, like the new, you know, like a He-Man reboot for Netflix. And he does the same photo of himself crying, saying, here's a picture of myself crying that I sent to people because I watched like a movie and it made me cry. But now it's like, oh, I watched this animated movie and it made me cry. And then there's all these diehards that are down in the comments. And this guy was like, man, the first time you did this, I was genuinely touched. But now I'm like, please stop doing this, you know. I just thought that was so funny. It's like even they're getting sick of it. They're like, I'm like, this is no good.
I like that tweet he put out where it's like, 10 years into this marriage, we fuck like we're cheating on each other.
This is the fourth time that we're mentioning this, and I just
my
hate this.
wife pounds my taint brown area.
Yeah. He said that that was actually a joke. My wife made me post that, and it was like, yeah, it just so happens that everything else you post sounds exactly the same as that.
That's
It's curious.
And you're also suddenly claiming it's a joke 10 years later. Like,
yeah. But they had...
Speaking of...
Wait, I wasn't finished.
Right.
My story about Kevin Smith.
Yeah, he's fat.
No, but Kevin Smith has this whole saga where he was giving out about Bruce Willis being mean to him, do you know?
Yeah.
And when they worked on Cop Out. And then he's telling all these stories, which at the time I was like, why was he so mean to Kevin Smith? And then years later when I was listening to them, I was like... So yeah, there was a technical error there, but basically, Bruce Willis said that he was upset at Kevin Smith because Kevin Smith just kept getting high on the set all the time, and one time he was like, "What are we doing in this shot?" And then he's like, "Oh, just sit there and do your thing," and he's like, "You don't know what you're doing here," and he starts giving out to him, and he goes like. He's like, how is this shot set up? What's the name of this lens that you're using? What's any of this stuff? And he's giving out about it, and then Kevin Smith didn't know any of that, like. He wasn't sure. And so Bruce Willis was just like, like he was just annoyed at him. And so then it was like, at the time I was like, hey man, he's just the director. How's he supposed to know everything? But then it was like, and he's just, what? Maybe he works better when he's high. And then I realized, like, imagine that you're a Bruce Willis and you're sitting on the set. It's like, this guy is just getting high, coming here. He's like, pretending like we're all chummy and friends. And it's like, everybody's waiting here for him to make these decisions. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's doing, you know?
And then it's just like his director's like, hey, just do
like
your
one of the
thing,
things he said was he wanted him to act like in Moonlighting or some like, which was like a TV show that he was in like the 1980s. And apparently it's very offensive to ask an actor to just do a performance that they did before, do you know?
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
This is what Kevin Smith claims, and apparently Bruce Willis was just like really angry at him for saying this, but then he ultimately did it in the end. And but he was like, Bruce Willis was really mean to me, and I was like, well, it sounds like you were just incredibly lazy, and Bruce Willis couldn't handle it. Even though, funnily enough, Bruce Willis seems to be one of the laziest like really lazy now, you know.
Yeah.
Of 10 years from now, yeah.
Yeah. That guy, the high.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah, we discovered there recently that there's like, you know, the guys like, how high are you? And it's like this really guy with a glazed expression, and they kind of have like, you know.
Yeah, it was like a semi-popular meme, and the thing would be like, he'd be like, "Hey man, could you turn down the volume? I want to see
the music," or something. I can't even see the music, you know, something like that.
Yeah, or like,
how high are you? And it's like 6 foot, you know.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
How high is a Chinaman?
How? No.
Did you hear that joke? Oh, he is. How high is his name?
Okay.
How high is his name, Garrett? He's their president.
But anyway, yeah, it turned out that guy's from Northern Ireland, from the north.
That was so weird to find that. It's so discombobulating.
Yeah.
And then he was like, 10 years on, it's time to ask me any questions you like about this meme from 10 years ago. It's like, hey, the way he was doing it was like, here we are, you know, like, the time has come. I have been listening.
I don't know if you looked at the replies, did you? But on that YouTube video, like some of the replies were literally like, "Thank you, man. You made me realize that how much I loved memes and how much I wanted to create." And he genuinely had a bunch of people in the replies going about how meaningful his work was to them. Him accidentally getting a picture taken of him on a 2008 trip to Lanzarote stoned. You know what I mean? It's like that's not work. He didn't do that. That was like sheer accident.
I know. That's just pure pure happenstance. You know. Imagine like that, the guy who slipped on the ice, and you're like, you really made me think about mortality, man. Like, it's really,
I actually think like
very
that guy who slipped on the ice basically started Kevin McGahern's career, which is kind of funny. Do you know what I mean? This guy's walking there and he's like slips on the ice, and then Kevin McGahern kind of looks like him, so does that video where he's like behind, you know, and then that kind of catches the eyes of whoever, you know, because it got a lot of hits, it got a lot of traction, and I'm sure he had stuff on there before, but I think if you ask Kevin, he would probably say like that was a real turning point in my career.
Yeah. Is Kevin in?
Celtic Ligers.
Dot
TK. Do you remember TK? Oh, okay.
No.
It was just a free domain name you could get if you were someone like me who was a weirdo whose hobby was to make personal websites when they were a teenager.
I don't know, went on a date with someone and they used to run a blog, like a Tumblr fan page.
Yeah, you were saying this for Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde.
And but I think,
but you had a personal, you had your own shrine
to Olivia Wilde. Yeah, no, there was a
what was yours?
I don't know. I just there was I think I had 2 of them, and I was like a moderator on some forum as well.
About you, the Gareth Lyons forum.
No, it was called Strange Places, and I can say that now with confidence, knowing that it no longer exists. I tried to look for it.
And what was the vibe?
I don't know. It was kind of just like we really wanted to be part of that, like internet mid-2000s internet culture. Like when I hear like the Chapo Trap House guys talking about the Something Awful forums and how important that was to them, that's the kind of community I was looking for. But ultimately, I had like a community of about like 3 or 4 people who I just knew from school anyway. And but I used to draw like artwork and just upload it to there as well, like comics that would be like inside jokes for stuff that we had said or things like this. So I was looking for the forum for that reason, but like I don't know, I guess all that stuff's been scrubbed. Maybe it's on a hard drive somewhere, but ultimately like a big bulk of the work that I did when I was a teenager no longer exists, you know.
What were the websites?
It was called, well, this is the worst part, because I didn't realize that a .com was like a name, you know, like that you had to register for. So I made this thing, and there was a website called Pixo that you could use to make your own kind of personal blogs, and I would try to manipulate that to make it look like an official website, but it was like, it just wasn't designed for that. So depending on what computer you logged in on, like the format would completely change, and it would just drive me crazy. I was just like constantly shifting around images and trying to make hyperlinks and upload music videos that I liked and talk about things that was, you know, I thought were important, you know.
Yeah. People who like people these days don't have to work with HTML except
Yeah.
to set up like a frame, and that's it. I never had a personal website. I used to put on forums and stuff, but they're still up, so I'm not.
I tell you my name, the web name of my website. So I put it on Pixo, but the link would be something.pixo.com. But even though that was the URL, I kept referring to it as randomcrap.com.
Yes.
And I filmed a little
crap.
video intro to the website where like I had like a fake dog turd that was just randomly placed somewhere, and like pan the camera down, and then it was like randomcrap.com.
Yes.
And I used to put up polls and talk about like things, and
What sort of polls?
I think I put up something about God, I'm trying to remember. They were literally like, it was like, like the random articles that you come across, like some of the photos I put up there. I remember one of the photos I put up was the cheese toastie that sold that had the Virgin Mary burned on the side of it. Do you remember that one? And stuff like that. I was like, this is so random. So it was like polls like that,
I'm so glad random. Like, I really hope random doesn't make a comeback, because I do not know how I would deal with that. Random. Though,
let's talk about.
Were you reading about the cyber attack?
Speaking of random,
Speaking of random,
this cyber attack, it's random and it's also crap. To be honest, like when I heard about it, it was like the way the news story rumbled through. Sometimes it just comes straight out the gate and people are like shocked and horrified. And this one basically was like, it came out. It's like, they're under an attack from a cyber group, and I was like, that sounds pretty big. Yeah, it is and it isn't, but let's sit with it a bit and we'll figure it out. And then the more it just kind of trundled on, it was like, this is fucking grim. And then the response by the government was like to try and pretend like they must be so sheltered at this point that the stuff that they're doing is just so baffling to me. It's so.
I think it's they obviously thought to themselves, like, we're never going to have an issue with cyber terrorism. Like, that's obvious because they bought Eamon Ryan. Yeah. He's, what is he? Minister for Cybersecurity or something.
Made up whatever. Make work.
And then, like, Oisin Smith has the junior minister for e-government. So, like, they're obviously like, this isn't a real thing, so let's just give it to the Greens. And now it's him and it's Stephen Donnelly. And they're the face of the HSE being hacked. And it's just like, Eamon Ryan doesn't have a computer. Like, he definitely gets his kids to work his phone for him,
Both are like the most, they inspired the least confidence out of any politician in the country.
Well, that's it. And like, Stephen Donnelly is the type of guy who, like, when his computer crashes, he just like throws it out the window and buys a new one. Like, he's like, I'm not fixing this. It's broken. So to have them is so
my favorite. One of the first things I saw about it was like, thank you to our brave service men and women who are challenging these cyber terrorists. And there's all these pictures of fucking, like, sent out by Charlie Flanagan because he still loves the military, even though he's just not really involved in that capacity. But like where he has the it's like pictures of guys in camo wearing masks just sitting at computers, and it's like, do you think that we're this stupid that we actually think that this is how it works? It's like, okay, I'm in, clickety clack, and we're going through the system. It's like, it's a lot of just sitting there. Like, isn't it just like undoing what people have done or trying to figure out how they could have bypassed certain things? But like,
well, that's it. And like, most of it's also just like ringing people, because it's like you're trying to solve a crime. You know what I mean? So like, the computer system in the HSE got hacked and like, held to ransom by some Russian group.
Is that been confirmed that it was Russian? Because I thought that was like, every time they say Russian, I always like try to hold fire until somebody says, oh no, it's genuinely the Russians.
I know. As far as I know, they're Russian. Like, and what I heard is they're either asking for 16 million or and then the Business Post said they were asking for 3 bitcoins. Yeah. Which is the equivalent of, at the moment, it's like 90 grand. But At the time of the hacking, it was like 140 grand. And then they didn't pay it, the government didn't pay it, and now all the HSE information is floating around on the internet somewhere.
I thought that there was suggestion that they had paid it because they got the decryption key.
Well, that's it. It's like they should have paid it straight away. Because they were caught with their pants around their ankles. Because the thing is, they were like, we're going to, the system is outdated and we're going to make it so that we can't get hacked again. Like, we're going to update it. Right? So just pay it.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to update it, just pay it and make sure it doesn't happen again. Don't, because how long has it been going on now? A week?
Yeah.
4 days?
Like a week, I'd say.
And it's like, there's a pandemic on.
Yeah.
Like, they can't do scans and stuff. There's loads of, like, actual equipment in the hospitals they can't use. So people are going to die as a result of it. So just pay it. Just, like, 16 million is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. 90k is, like, Eamon Ryan's travel expenses.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree with the point of just like, I mean, you have this thing where it's like, does it set a precedent? Does it mean you be targeted by other people? How big is the overhaul?
Like,
and that's another problem, which is that like they can update it, but ultimately because they have left it so fucking long, then it's basically going to be years before they can overhaul it.
Well, they have to update it anyway.
Windows 7. They're on Windows 7.
Yeah, but they have to update it anyway, right? So, like, even if it does set a precedent, this system should be updated to a capacity where it's resilient enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they attacked us even without a precedent.
That's true. Yeah.
So, just update it till it's secure. Pay it. Sure, it's not great, but it's like, it's better than just being, like, cocked by Russian teenagers.
Yeah. And it's funny.
My little theory is that it's Israel.
Yeah, a lot of people. My dad is speculating that. I probably shouldn't say that.
That's a smart man.
Yeah, no.
Your dad is a very shrewd thing. Like, because think about it, the the Irish ambassador in Israel was called to the thing to be given out to by someone in Israel because Simon Coveney was too positive to Palestine. In his
he wasn't
tweets,
deferent enough towards Israel.
Which is unreal, because his first thing was like, I condemn Hamas, and then, I also condemn Israel's attacks.
Like, he literally, at the end, he couldn't even just say, obviously I condemn Israel. He also said at the end, but also I condemn Hamas,
That's it. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's, like, an Israeli group just letting us know. Because then, like, we got the decryption key, and it's like, how did they get it? And they're all just being like, it's mad. They
just gave it to us.
We just got it. It's crazy, isn't it? It's like, that sounds like another government. Because if they were just Russian teenagers, they'd just be like, delete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they got bored, they just delete the whole thing. Whereas if it was Israel, they give there'd be a note attached being like, you should start making more comparisons between Ireland and Israel, not Ireland and Palestine.
I don't know. I just feel like I don't think all that much has changed in, well, I mean, like, I think his response is actually more positive than previous administrations. In fact, even though, like, towards Israel,
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, Israel are now engaging more thoroughly in the genocide of Palestine.
Yeah, and also on the world stage, and they know that the public backlash is really turning against them. So you do see, like, a bit more of a reaction than usual. But I don't know. It's still, like, I wouldn't. I don't know. To be honest, it's not something I've speculated on, like, who did this. It's like anybody could do it because literally the system is so fucked that some of the
See, anybody could do it. It's just they wouldn't give the decryption password.
Yeah.
Israel would. I have nothing to back that up.
Yeah. But
I believe it to be true. Because if you think, here's more evidence. like America and Europe, like Europe used to just follow America's lead and all this sort of stuff, but now Europe are trying to be a bit more independent. So maybe, and we're on the UN Security Council.
This is the other thing, actually. Sorry, it was just that people have brought that up about, oh, Israel might have done it, and I was like, why? We became a target because we're on the UN Security Council, and I was just like, then why was it such a good thing that we went for that? Why was everybody pushing for that? Why did they want this? It's like,
I know, but like it doesn't mean we're more of a target because maybe we have some vote or something on something. You know what I mean? Why are you reluctant? You seem a bit reluctant about this wild hypothesis.
I don't know. I guess I'm not. I don't. I just. I guess I'm always hesitant when it comes to like, you know, foreign government interference or something. Do you know, like there's definitely, like, for example, with the Sony leaks way back when it was like a direct response to the interview, the Kim Jong-un kind of parody film, that made sense to me. But I guess ever since 2016, I guess, or when it's like, oh, Hillary lost the election because of Russian interference, I always have this feeling as like, I don't know if people are as clandestine or motivated as they usually are. You know, I think it's, you know, I think sometimes it is what it is almost. And so I don't know enough about the case. All I know is that what's happened and the government's response. But the only reason I don't care. So I was like, you could be right. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like that's my, you know.
Israel are like the big boys on online. Like, have you read about their like online army? Like, you've probably seen them on Twitter. Where like, like all over the place. I saw anytime someone with a marginally large following, they'd be like, "Oh, fuck Israel," and then. Like, one of the more effective ones I saw was this woman, and she was like, but, you know, you don't always have to tweet about something you don't know. So maybe before you tweet about Israel, you should figure out, do you actually know anything about it? And here are some questions to consider. And she posted like 30 questions about Israel. And some of them were like, who was the first president? Like,
I know what you mean. I saw
if
that.
If you lived in Israel, you might
It was
even
literally
know
like, you know, it's just to
like,
obfuscate the obvious moral thing, which is like, you look at this, you see that with your eyes how, you know, awful and disgusting it is. And then these people are like, I know it looks awful and disgusting, but can you answer these 30 questions to prove that you know it's awful and disgusting?
That's it. And like, the idea is that you're not necessarily trying to change people's mind. You're just trying to make them less confident about stating their opinion. And then you get other ones who are just like, oh, it's actually anti-Semitic to criticize Israel.
That's
and like,
something.
they particularly go after Jews who criticize Israel. Like, one of the big things they always say is like, you'll need Israel when the world becomes anti-Semitic again. And the idea is like to make them afraid. I don't know, Israel is so big online that it's sort of crazy.
But also they're kind of like goofy online. Do you know, like the stuff is with the fucking when they tweet out the rockets or they tweet out the prayer hands, thanks so much to our fans, you know, get it going in the hearts, and it's like,
or didn't they tweet out Molly Malone in a burqa? I think we mentioned that.
I can't remember, but like, oh yeah, no, you did, yeah, that was a while ago, but like, I guess it's hard for me to be intimidated by that because it's so fucking goofy. Although but that's psychological. Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like it is sort of half endearing to see is the official account being like thoughts and prayers to Israel, or like one of the things that ISIS used to do is in their magazines they would have like, you know, an article about why Muhammad is great or whatever, an article about their plans, and then they'd have like a video of a guy being beheaded, not a video, but like a really nice image, like high definition image of some guy getting his head cut off, and there'd be a prayer next to it, and the idea was just to be like to make you associate this beheading with like the other stuff, so it's just like a very normal thing. And that's one of the things like Israel are doing. They're just like, they tweet out like 50 emojis of bombs And it's supposed to be like, oh, you can approach the situation with levity.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh, like the way people tweeted snake emojis at Warren. We're doing that at Palestine. You know, like, it's like, oh, you're on side, or you're not on side,
you're kind of.
like,
but also, I suppose it is a lot more literate in the internet and the discourse than, let's say, something that young Fine Gael would put. Actually, did you see that? Did you see that thing that I that account I retweeted earlier today?
No, have you blocked him for that?
It's called. Let me just look it up because I was just like, it's called Shinner Memes. Have you seen this?
I did. I think I did see you retweet it, and it was mind-bogglingly.
Yeah, they're so bad, but it's so.
Get it.
Yeah, here's the one that I retweeted because I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because it's
actually what's it? I'm going to
look up at Shinner Memes, and so like, but they're so bizarre. But anyway, the one that I saw was it's a picture of Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un, and then Kim Jong Un is labeled something on RTE, and then Donald Trump is labeled Shinner's watching RTE, so he's watching Kim Jong Un talk, and now it's Trump talking and Kim Jong Un looking like a little bit mopey, and it says Trump is Shinner's explaining why you shouldn't watch RTE. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything at all. Here's another one. So it's a clown meme where it's a guy progressively putting on more clown makeup. So the idea is that, like, with each step, the statement beside it is more and more clownish. So the first one is, I want to vote for a party who will help honest, ordinary people like me.
What an idiot. What a fucking clown.
Yeah, that's a semi-clownish thing to say.
Dope.
The next level, Sinn Féin will get the housing built.
Yeah.
Now he's putting on a wig. It says, Owen O'Brien is the man for the job. And now he's full clown. Yeah. And there's a tweet by Owen O'Brien saying, planning policy must deliver sustainable and affordable urban development, not developer-led vanity.
Yeah, that's Johnny Ronan was going to build, like, you know, I think it like broke the height restrictions and shit like this, and it's this absolute gaudy looking set of luxury apartments. You know, Johnny Ronan. Do you need to say any more? It's like anything that he would be behind, you know, for a fact, is not going to benefit like, you know, ordinary people.
Yeah, and like, here's an ironic one. It's just two girls gossiping about some guy or something, you know, and one of them saying to the other, I heard he can abuse people online without getting sign off from the social media team in Serbia. This is from a literal troll account.
Yeah.
This account is set up to abuse people online. So the guy...
yeah, right. The irony of saying, like, you need to get permission from Serbia. It's like, you're doing it. You're an anonymous person who's just targeting people online. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just replying that to him.
The other one that's great is... because this is the weird mixture that I'm kind of, like, struggling to understand. It's like, so they're anti-Sinn Féin. Okay, whatever. But then they also have this weird mixture of being, like... very kind of like, they love like the US Democrats that are, you know, going against Trump, but not the squad.
They're like Hillary stance.
Yeah, exactly. So they have one here, and it's Nancy Pelosi, and she's looking at a picture of Pierce Doherty said he is not obliged to list new coastal Donegal family home in Dáil Register, and she's ripping it up like she ripped up Trump's speech. Do you remember?
So why is she ripping that up? Like, within the format, that doesn't make sense. Because she didn't rip up the speech because she thought it was wrong. She did it as a weird, like, PR move. I don't know. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, that's... yeah.
The whole thing about Pierce Doherty's house is funny. So it's literally like the Bernie has 3 houses, or the Bernie has a really expensive coat.
Yeah, but that's
it? Like,
the thing that I don't understand about it is like, oh yeah, you know, this is, they're basically trying to go, oh, you champagne socialist, you know, he's building a house, you know, what a hypocrite. And then then they'll go on like, young people are finding it difficult to get on the property ladder. It's like, that's the property ladder, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Is he have, like, you're talking about, does he have multiple properties that he rents out out to people, like, you know, or does he have a house and then he's building another house, you know?
Yeah, to move into. Like, it's wild. And it's also like Donegal. Like, it's not like...
Yeah, you type into daft and you find the lowest rents in Dublin are in the country, all in Donegal. They're all in Donegal.
Yeah, it's just not a display of wealth. Like, there's tons and tons of like new build houses, and they're like, oh, how he's supposed to represent the party that like is representing housing for the ordinary person? No, it's actually what's his name?
Fucking
John
the James Gogahan or something. The guy who's running in
that
Dublin Bay South.
The 34-year-old, wherever old he is, running in Dublin Bay South. Comes from a political dynasty and owns his own house. That's clearly paid for by his family. Like, or maybe like not.
Any of them, fucking Vradker, like, you know what I mean? There's so many of these people.
Yeah, he bought a house at 24, wasn't it?
Like, it's crazy to kind of make this suggestion that. Anyway,
like they're literally like, you say there's a housing crisis, yet you live in a house. Where's the crisis?
Ed Brophy is, excuse me, an advisor to Pascal Donoghue. Okay, so, you know, Pascal Donoghue is featuring a bit more because now they have to try and talk about corporation tax or capital gains or whatever the fuck, just stuff to crack down on vulture funds. So now Pascal Donoghue is coming in to make sure that none of that happens because it will affect his good boy status in Europe. I don't know. I you know, it's beyond me. Anyway, Ed Brophy tweets out. So Aidan Regan tweeted this thing, okay, which is, given the constituency that Pascal Donoghue represents, the decision to exclude apartments from the new housing legislation, which actually we should comment on, that they've introduced this new housing legislation. Don't worry, we got you covered. Nobody will be able to buy more than 10 houses. And then they'll have to suffer some sort of stamp duty, which of course they'll find it very difficult to pay, even though they probably own like fucking football teams, you know?
I know, it's a stamp duty of 10%. And I saw Dara O'Brien, Minister for Housing, and he was like, this will devastate the housing
and
industry.
Then you know, you see the chart and it immediately just spikes up. You know, they're like, hey, we're back in, you know, like they know
like
they know when they're being signaled to, is basically what I'm saying. Yeah,
like the housing policy, like it only makes sense when you talk about corruption.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, there's no other tactic.
Yeah.
Like, after 2011 or after the crash, sorry, with the government, you know, the government that like ended in 2011, the Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil government, like they brought in this thing where they're just like, we want companies to come in and be able to buy up land to try to like fix the economy basically, and they made the whole place just available for purchase,
for sale,
with like low tax. You know, everything was cheap. And they just never gotten rid of it.
And then they actually, they like it. And they
like it, exactly. They're just keeping it going. So then when you hear all this stuff about like cuckoo funds coming in and buying, like I guarantee you the way that you know the thing in Maynooth, I guarantee you the way that worked is there was a property developer and he was like, I'm going to build these houses. And he approached whatever firm that was. And he was like, if I build these, will you buy them? Yeah. And will you invest in them now? Yeah. So like the way a lot of these things work is that the cuckoo fund or whatever, they'll be like, when you lay the foundations, we'll give you a certain amount of money. When you build a certain amount of houses, we'll give you more money, and then we'll buy the rest. Like it's baked into the system of how housing is developed. And like they know it, they planned it, like this is what they want. So then when you see these like Micheál Martin coming out being like, oh, we need to fix this. It's like, this is literally your plan.
It's working.
You're in the
exactly how you intended it to.
Exactly. So when they make these motions about like putting 10% on or something, it just doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah. It's just, again, it's this thing about like nibbling around the edges and treating it like it's this massive overhaul when it's clearly not. And they just hope that they can convince people that it, that
it was unintentional.
Yeah, or that like it's going to work any day now. And
yeah, like it's so bizarre when they like pretend like any of this is an accident.
Yeah.
You know, like if they came out and they were like, this went according to plan, but it's obviously not working, so we're going to change. But instead, they're like, no one can see this coming. You know.
The other part about that housing legislation is that it doesn't include apartments. So of course the city is just going to
so fucking stupid. Like, it's so stupid because
it's the most like, you know, like everything is just about signaling. So it's signaling to the developers, don't worry, your money's still safe here, and the vulture funds, I should say, you know. And then it's also signaling to their base, don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. We're trying to do something about this so you don't get affected, but you recognize we need a payday at the end of it. So these guys are going to take the hit, you know.
But like, obviously the apartment thing is signaling to that, but also like the fact that you can only buy 10 houses. Like,
yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
most people buy one house. Like, it's not like, oh, we need to look out for the average punter who just wants to buy 4 houses. You know what I mean? Why penalise him? It's like...
Well, yeah, okay. Here's the one, though, I wanted to get this. Aidan Regan says, given the constituency that Pascal Donoghue represents, the decision to exclude apartments from the new housing legislation is just mad. It is a clear signal of what the housing policy of Dublin Central will be buy to let to transient FDI workers. This is a recipe for disaster. So Ed Brophy tweets out, which is now the Fine Gael kind of line that they're trying to do, which was a joke tweet that I put out a few weeks back, okay? And it says, the word transient is thrown around as if it's a social ill, and this reveals a certain paternalism. Who is a transient worker? And what is a transient community anyways? Is it worse than a stable one? Isn't transient another word for diverse? And aren't we in favour of diversity? No, and then the next thing is, because I'm sure many people couldn't wait to get out of their stable neighbourhoods and experience some diversity, or even transience. So much moral judgment in these categories. Disappointing that otherwise liberal people fall into the trap.
Oh my, that's incredible. That's actually incredible. Yeah, like to go from someone being like, this is too transient, to him being like, transient is a dog whistle for, like, is a racist dog whistle. You know what I mean? To be like, what's wrong? You don't like transient communities, so you're against like black people and like POCs?
That's what they're saying. That's
really...
like one of the things that they've put in is like, oh, when you're talking about people coming in from overseas and taking your jobs, that's the kind of what you're getting at. It was like, no, we're talking about people coming in from the Silicon Tech docks or whatever the fuck, and increasing the rents in these like hike in these ways.
Well, that's it. Like the transient doesn't refer to like people coming into work. It refers to this thing of like, you just will have companies buying up huge rakes of apartments to rent them out for exorbitant prices for like foreign workers, you know?
And they're not even like the foreign workers, like the way that it's loaded sometimes, where it's like, look, the foreign workers coming over and picking the strawberries. It's like fucking like Canadians, Americans, like these rich fucking people coming in.
That's it. Like, these people are making such a bomb, and they're getting apartments for free because like Google or Facebook or whatever pays for them. It's just, Transient is talking about the way in which these companies inflate the housing market. It's not talking about diversity.
Well, even worse, Transient also is like, he's kind of going like, oh wow, so you're shaming people for wanting to be homeless, for being transient, you know, for not having a secure roof, for being able to set up a neighborhood. Maybe they want to do that. It's like, do you want who you know, like, name them, fucking tell me. Like, there's people who want to move, sure, and stuff, but it's just like, it's this weird thing about like, why are you catering to them, except that it just, you know, reinforces the argument of your failed housing policies. It's like, actually, it's a personal choice that these people are making to not have a mortgage and to put off having a family and to just live with their parents. It's actually, you know, why would you shame them for that? How dare you?
But it's like, it's also like, it's a personal choice, right? But you don't have to cater exclusively to that personal choice. Like, you don't have to cater exclusively to tent workers, you know? Like,
that's it. Yeah.
We're not shaming them, we're shaming you because you're fucking it up for us.
That's so true, actually, as well, because that's the thing, is like, their priorities, the people they value, and they really see these people coming in and sitting in these kind of sterile offices doing jobs that are just there to facilitate a shell company that filters money back to the US at a lower tax rate. It's like, you know, they're like, wow, these are really important jobs, and they're coming up with the new technological advances of the future. And then we have the HSE running on Windows 7. It's like, what is this weird disconnect that you like seem to value technology, but then don't give a fuck about its application at all?
It's pure, like, there's such a level of classism where they're looking at Silicon Valley and they're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then they're looking at Capel Street and they're like, this is such a waste of a street, you know? Or like Moore Street, where it's like all the shops are occupied. They're all providing a living for people. And they're like, what a disgusting waste of a street.
I know. Yeah.
But they love like the upper middle class that work in these tech places, you know? Like like Fine Gael love these people who are like, I'm going to work early because they give us breakfast for free, and then we take a slide to the office, you know?
Yeah, I segue from room to room, and we have. I actually did know somebody who worked in some sort of docs-based startup, and all of the lads, like, also this is what happens as well, and like, maybe you can tell me I'm wrong with this, but honestly, I think that there's this weird kind of internalized misogyny where it's like there's a lot of women there doing a lot of admin, and then there's literally, this is stories I've heard of just guys playing like GTA 4 on beanbags the entire day.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it at all. You know what I mean? Because the guys are just like the biggest nerds in history. And then the women who go in are just like, I hate feminists. I think feminists are really annoying. So they're like, that's the culture. It's just like, the culture is just like fucking madmen. Like, you know what I mean?
It's just, even it's not a one size fits all, but definitely in Silicon Valley and in total, it's kind of like this weird, stunted moment from adolescence.
Yeah, it sounds like actual hell. Yeah. Like, I don't think, I mean, I was going to say I think I could survive it for their money, but like, be pretty miserable just going in and someone being like, isn't it epic the way, you know, there's a Father Ted themed room, you know? It's like, nah, that's really sick. And I was like, you go in, there's a sign that says, go on. And there's a tea underneath.
There's a fountain of M&Ms in the cafeteria.
Yeah. You could just go and take a beer out of the fridge, an IPA. It's like, and it's one of the ones that says fuck on the side.
You know, the funny thing about that as well is that, like, that happens in Facebook and all those places. And, you know, there are people who work, like, really late and quite, you know, difficult, whatever. I don't know why I feel the need to defend it. But basically what I'm saying is that sort of, like, campus culture tech thing is then filters out, and other businesses try to have it. Because I remember hearing about like Love in Dublin, that they had like a keg in the office, but nobody drank any of the beer because they were like too afraid of being frowned at by the boss and stuff.
But that's the thing, it's that like that's almost part of the strategy. Like the famous one is all these like tech companies found that if you give unlimited holidays, the amount of holiday time people take lowers. Really? Because if you're like, you get a month holidays, you're like, I'll make sure to take it because I'm owed it. So every year you'll take a month off. Whether they're just like, take off as much as you like, you're not as likely to take that month off because you'll be thinking, I don't want to be the guy who always takes as much time. You know what I mean? And they found that, and I believe it with all this stuff, like free beer, like everyone drinking beer. Well, here's two things. It's like, you're not drinking it during the day, right? But then these are the type of nerds who would be like, why would we go to a pub when there's beer here? And then you're in work, and you're drinking, and like, sure, you're in work, so you might as well get that thing finished.
Like,
do you know what I mean?
One of the ones that I remember watching, like in animation, it's pretty funny because there's such a massive disconnect between, you know, you're making like colorful cartoon bullshit, and then the work practices are very much like, it's very David Brenty and that Silicon type thing where it's like, hey guys, we're all wearing Hawaiian shirts, we're all just chilling here, we're your friends, but also like, these people are trying to please their bosses, you know, so they show them scenes, and then the reaction will be like, you know, and you want to impress boss, you know, you want to make sure you're doing. But anyway, I guess that's the case for most places. But I just remember there was a big documentary about Pixar, and anytime they make documentaries about animation studios, like, they look like the most depressing places in the world, but they're just like the amount of like cheerfulness that all these people are like meant to exude, you know? So they have these guys, hey guys, come in. This is where they created Woody. They made Dumbo. They did all this. But anyway, I remember they go like to the Pixar campus, and they show the Olympic-sized swimming pool that any of the students, the staff and their family can avail of, completely empty. The basketball courts, completely empty, you know. And then they go into the cafeteria and they show off that there are like over 32 different types of cereal, and the amount of people that were just lined up in hoodies just pouring bowls of dry cereal. And they go back to their desks and you see them just like clicking a mouse button and putting it in. And they have like, they're surrounded by like big fucking 3D sculpt statues of Woody, just or Buzz Lightyear staring over them, and they have these lights around their head, and it's tiki time, and they're all still wearing the grey hoodies.
It reminds me of when Marge becomes Mr. Burns' assistant.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about funny hat day? And it's just like all the guys looking miserable wearing funny hats.
I was thinking about the bit in Arrested Development where he does the Christmas party, and it's like, everybody dance now, and everybody keeps working. He's just like, everybody dance now. And so there are all these people like holding copies, just like shifting their hips a little bit.
Cool.
But anyhow, that was that. Here's another story. This one I don't really know what to make of it. But a doll motion by Sinn Féin passed. Here's what Gavin Riley said. Meanwhile, the doll is just passed.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
Yeah,
this,
I don't really get it. But it.
But we will report on it.
Meanwhile, the doll. Yeah.
This is breaking news.
Okay. Breaking. Last week.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the doll.
Last week. We're reading a tweet.
Meanwhile, the doll has just passed a Sinn Féin motion seeking that affordable housing should be delivered for 230k in Dublin, not the 450k government aspires for, and the cost rental €700 to 900, because it seems the government forgot to vote for its own counter motion instead.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like, if you see the video, I don't really understand how doll stuff works, and emotion is not binding. So the big gag is that essentially Stephen Donnelly and Eamon Ryan were there, or, they had presence, something was happening, and it was like, they should have had a counter motion, they should have voted against it, but then instead, by accident, this thing passed. And the video is quite funny, because it shows Owen O'Brien just doing his thing, he just says his thing, the motion, and then he sits down, and then they go pan over to the people who are meant to have a counter motion. They're just staring there like blank faced. And then they go back to Owen O'Brien, and he's like, you really should look at it. His face is just like, what?
No,
he's just so lit up.
Yeah.
I just find that it was kind of like, I know it's,
Yeah, because I was looking at it, and then I was looking at the comments, and some of the comments were like, oh, it's not their fault. The guy, I don't know what we did call it. The guy who was reading. Yeah. His Irish was so bad, it probably threw them off. Yeah. But he was like, speaking in English as well.
Yeah, he was,
Like, they were making any excuse for Stephen Donnelly and Eamon Ryan. Still, it's so grim the way it's like, oh, we're gonna, like, bring it down to max, like, 900 rent a month.
I know, I saw that. I was
a lot of money.
It's like, come on, like, cost rental 700, 900. I think that they're trying to appeal to the idea of like maybe there'd be couples in these houses,
And obviously that's probably supposed to be the upper end of stuff, but like it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
There was something the other one I didn't understand was, the way all the parties have been called before the data commissioner.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
And I don't get what's going on, because there was a thing where all the parties were representative on the commission, I guess. And then they were all supposed to send a witness.
Okay.
And the Sinn Féin sent Owen O'Brien in both capacities.
Okay.
As a panelist and as a witness.
All right.
It just seemed like a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they did it, and I also don't know what it means.
Yeah. Like, I haven't been able to understand. To me, it's the same story, because it's like, oh yeah, they're going in front of the data commissioner. It's like, yeah, I knew that. You said that. And I think the only reason I find it funny is that Philip Ryan, like, you know, obviously accidentally created the situation, and then he was like, fuck, I hate that my guys are up there, but I did break this story, so I am going to revel in it. And he retweeted it, but then he turned off the reply so that nobody could dunk on him in the comments. And I was like, that is such a, because you just know that, like, I'm really glad that you did that, because it's an admission that we got to you, all the people who are just dragging you for being a fucking dumbass. You know,
he's such a stupid coward.
He's a coward. But there's that, and then there's.
Like, it is amazing how stupid and cowardly you can be and still rise to the top.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what
Fail
I mean?
upwards.
Like, the ultimate example is Eamon Ryan. Like, I hate Eamon Ryan because he's so stupid and he's so cowardly and he's so ineffective. It's just like, he sort of reminds me of, like, you know, there's always a thing of the dad who's been like, you know, they should do.
Yeah.
And it's like one of them was transported into being head of the Green Party.
Yeah.
Because like, that is the vibe he gives off. What was that stupid thing he said recently? Oh, there was some incredible. Let me see. If I can get it up. It was mind-boggling because he was just like, it was the sort of thing of like, why can't people just print more money?
I thought him like bumbling through some speech, and it was just like somebody was pointing out, I was like, this guy's been in the Dáil for 20 years and he looks like it's his first fucking day.
I heard about that.
I don't know what he said, but ultimately, like, the point stands. It's like any contribution that he has. Oh, that was another funny one, by the way. I don't know if you heard when he got his vaccine that because he cycles everywhere, his like tendon, something in his arm, like the muscles in his arms were too, like, what's the word, tense or something. So they were like, oh, this is going to be difficult to get this syringe in. I just found that funny that, like, that is one thing that he's actually not lying about. It's like, you said one time, like, I think that the only thing that he does is he likes cycling, and that's pretty much what dictates all of his politics. And I was like, that seems a bit glib. And then it's like, I think you might be right now after hearing that.
No, it is true. Yeah. Oh, here's what it is. Someone sent me a screenshot. I can't see who tweeted it, but it's a blue check. Anyway, so rest assured.
It's an expert.
It's Green Party leader Eamon Ryan says that one of the ways to reduce the cost of building apartments is not to provide car parking for everyone.
Yes, I saw that. That was funny.
But that's just such a unbelievably stupid thing to say. Like, isn't it? It's just like, too many people driving, so why do we just like take up some of the roads?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, he said stuff is stupid before. Obviously, the growing the lettuce in your windowsill, the pandemic.
That was.
What was the other one that he did as well? Oh yeah, with the rural bus services, he was like, "You just get the bus, stop driving." It's like, unbelievable.
That's it. Like, it's incredible how, and then he somehow managed. Like, he fights off a leadership challenge.
I couldn't. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
that was shocking. Like, what happened there?
I think that maybe. No, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Because wasn't this after they went into government? After they agreed a plan for government, they did a leadership contest?
Yeah, because they put it off until the plan for government
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, maybe they just didn't want to have a divided house and they wanted to settle something. I was like, well, no, that was after the fact. And it's like, I think that they just like him. I think that that's really it, you know?
The plan for government was also just such a coward.
Oh, yeah, everything about it, yeah.
Like, I just hate him so much because he's so stupid. And just so oblivious and so
also,
bad.
like,
and like the Green Party is so, it should be so
at this moment in time. Like, for example, there that the Attorney General has said that it would be unconstitutional to ban importing fracked gas or fracking gas here or whatever. You know, there's something to do with fracked gas. But one of the things where it was like, this is why Mark Ruffalo was on that fucking Zoom call. He's like, hey, we need to make sure there's no frack gas. And Eamon's like, and then all of a sudden, like a year later, it's like, well, I did nothing, but at least I tried.
But don't worry, we got that fracking gas.
Yeah, we're fracking it. Why are you complaining?
Yeah, I thought you said you wanted it.
Oh, God.
Like, we're so fucked, it's unreal.
Yeah.
That people are still arguing Like, the other weird, like, Eamon Ryan is essentially a climate change denier.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By virtue of being head of the Green Party and doing nothing, he's saying it's not a big deal. The other climate change denying group are the Farmers Journal and the farming section of the Independent.
Really? Okay, I don't really.
They are so against like any climate change. It's bizarre. Like, there's this guy who's been like giving out about like methane emissions from cows, and he's just like, you think I'm bad? What about China? You think they're doing something like this? And like completely unchallenged. Or there was a guy who was like giving out, I don't understand how fertilizing works. I think turf might play a part.
Guess as good as mine.
Could do. And he was just like giving out that maybe it's something doing not. I don't know. Anyway, he was like, you can't plant turf like fertilizer. They say you can use compost, but what if there's a banana skin?
Oh yeah, that was
and it creates an acidic pocket.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that just sounds like a quality control issue. But he's just like,
nah, no point in trying it.
Scrap
the whole thing.
Scrap it all together.
Dude, one thing you just reminded me of, I was watching that Dan's mixtape guy. Do you remember I talked about him before?
Oh yeah.
But
the monitor.
Yeah,
guy.
this was like from months ago now. But I remember I was watching like one of his videos, and like I said, you're kind of like nodding along for a lot of it, and then he goes down a path, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know about that, and that's stupid. You know, he's fairly. I have my, you know, he's. There's certain alarm bells that are ringing when you're watching Dan's mixtape.
Like what?
I don't know, just about giving out about foreigners coming in and stuff, you know, and like
subtle dog whistles, such as.
No, I didn't mean like that. I mean like he's talking about like he's never kind of going like, oh, they're coming in and the immigrants and all this. It's always kind of like very softly peddled. It's like this type of thing. It's like we need to take care of Irish people first and the citizens of Ireland.
Yeah,
and it's like,
that sort of stuff.
But anyway, he was talking about something to do with housing, and then at one point he just goes, I think he was giving out about Board Namona and how, but he said that like at one point it's like there's perfectly good land that Board Namona has and that they're using to pick turf on where we could build houses. And I was like, I don't think you can build houses on like marshland. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like,
and he was
you
just
can't
like,
build like just build a skyscraper on the bog.
Like it was literally, it was something like, it was literally like that I remember saying like, I don't think you can do that. And then he was just like, he got back to me in the replies being like, yes, you can. And you clearly don't know the science, and I do. And I was like, all right. Well.
Eamon Ryan said you can.
Okay, one more thing just before, I think we should wrap up obviously now, but I just really wanted to get to this because it really bugged the fuck out of me. So there is a thing there's basically Aer Lingus have announced that here it is, Gav Riley again. Aer Lingus proposals to permanently close its Shannon cabin crew base with the loss of 126 jobs. And, you know, Fianna Fáil...
They should have called it Connie Lingus.
That is...
as opposed to Aer Lingus.
That's why they're not doing so. Is that what you're trying to say, you know?
No, it's unrelated.
Yeah. Anyway, the opposition, not the opposition line. So the opposition are kind of giving out about this, obviously. I think that's like the role of the opposition to do, even though at a certain point it's kind of like when you see about this thing, which is just like...
government's like a marriage. You know? One of the people
one has a left wing and the other has a right wing, and without it the marriage can't fly.
Yeah, without it the marriage can't mutually masturbate.
But you know again now where it's like, I think at a certain point it's like, you know...
No, the thing is, one does and one nags.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave that.
I'm not saying one is the husband, one is the wife.
And that's what you did in your head. So actually maybe you should question your own biases.
So actually, you're the No, my one, I've noticed in every couple there's one who nags and one who's way too relaxed. Yeah. That makes the other one have to mother them or father them. Do you know what I mean?
So,
like, think about Eamon Ryan's wife. And she's just like, Eamon, will you please, like, it's 9 o'clock, you have to be at work. And he's like, leave me alone, you know? They said I could come in late today. And then later on, she gets a phone call. He's like, why did you let me sleep in so late, you know? why are you always nagging me to get out of bed?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Let me think of another example.
So there's a lot of people giving out about this, that the 126 job shouldn't be lost.
Arlene Foster's husband.
Yeah. So one thing that Fianna
very
Fáil built
quiet.
was Shannon Airport, says local TD Michael McNamara. You're going to take it down around you, Taoiseach. But anyway, here's the response from Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, which has just driven me mad. I'm going to read what
The
the
husband.
Taoiseach says. Taoiseach says,
The daddy.
those in opposition who seem most concerned about the future of the aviation sector are also those who wanted mandatory hotel quarantine for all overseas arrivals. And so he's like, oh, that's a bit of a hypocrisy, isn't it? You want to save the
That's it.
aviation industry, but at the same time, you wanted to protect people from a deadly virus. Oh, well,
Yeah. That's such a dad husband thing to say.
Honestly, I know it
And
is
the
actually
mom?
true. It is exactly like a dad thing to say, where it's like, you're just like, what, oh, you can't have these two opinions at the same time. It's like, yes, you fucking can. You can talk about protecting the aviation industry and then protecting people who might contract the virus if you don't have mandatory hotel quarantine.
That's it. And then his husband's like, no, it's actually very common sense. You're not listening to me.
So, yeah, just a bizarre thing.
I love when you see people trying to own, like, whenever politicians try to own each other,
Yeah.
it's always
It is
so
bad,
much.
yeah.
It's just like, haha. It's like, even the exemplifying one, it's the Pierce Doherty one. It's just like, is that a house you're owning? Yet you want other people to own houses.
Interesting, that.
How interesting.
But it's another thing that's interesting about this own, as you're saying as well, is that like people pointed out, well, you didn't implement zero COVID. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, there's always people like,
that's it. Daddy didn't do the work.
so many people are like, oh yeah, you wanted zero COVID and now you want to protect the aviation sector. Make
Yeah.
up your mind. It was like, well, you didn't implement it and now these jobs are still being lost. So why does it matter?
That's it. I know.
It's so completely irrelevant to the topic that's being discussed as well. It's like, what are you doing to protect these jobs? Well, remember when you said zero COVID, it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's like I didn't actually realize you heard that because you ignored it so hard.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
But yeah, no, because it was meant to be an own as well by, there's like some real meathead Fine Gaeler. He's got like this fucking square ass head, and it's not Neil Richmond. Some guy McGahan or something, or Mahan. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They all look the same, but you just have this kind of like, he did actually record himself saying it like it was going to be this zing that goes out and people are like clapping back. And it's
yes,
like,
Queen.
even
Yeah.
when I'm just trying to think of, is there even any moments in like, people who we would ostensibly support who try to have like,
No, there's never been a successful own in the history of Irish politics. Like, ever.
except for
ever.
fuck you,
They all
Deputy
suck.
Stag. That was probably the closest, I think.
But that's not an own. That's just like, like justified harassment.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, exactly.
Like when you see someone get punched, like that guy owned it, you know?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was like, wow, that guy was asking
Yeah,
for
when
it,
Homer owns, fucking Millhouse's dad. Do you remember?
Yeah,
I sleep in a big bed with my
exactly.
wife. It's like, that is completely involuntary. He didn't say that to own somebody. He was literally
Yeah.
just mad and he lashed out like a wild animal, like, fuck you, Deputy Stag. It's like,
Yeah. So you're not. Let me think. I mean, the classic one is your balaclava. So
oh, that was so bad.
that's
It doesn't take long for your balaclava to slip, apparently, is the,
what is the? There are definitely some other ones. Leo Rucker is the king of
the owns that didn't work.
the pathetic owns. Yeah.
He did one there recently, which I thought was, oh no, what was the one? It was a while back. You remember the one that he did with when Paul Murphy rejoined Rise? And he's like, it's nice to see you at Leaders' Questions, asking questions. It's great to see.
That was Stephen Donnelly.
No, that was Leo. Leo was saying it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you're
Leo
right.
said it. But it was like, I've seen footage of him asking you questions at like Leaders' Questions. Like, I
Yeah.
know that this has happened before, and it has nothing to do with him, Rise merging with PvP. It was just like,
No, it's pure.
What are you
nonsense.
talking
Purest
about?
bullshit. I can't remember Bertie Ahern really owning anybody.
I'm sure he did though.
That's it. He had enough money,
Yeah,
not in his bank account.
yeah. That,
Booyah.
um,
That's another trademark slam.
yeah.
use my trademark catch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Booyah.
Booyah.
Boom shakalaka. We thank our patrons.
Patreon.com/Celtic Ligers. Pay €5 a month and you get a bonus episode each week, which is just more of what you hear here. And sometimes we look at movies and we do more timeless stuff, but that has been not as effective. So,
Great pitch.
No, but it's very good.
So I have the list here.
And so what's the thing? Random word?
The theme is the internet videos.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, memes.
Okay,
memes.
So let's do this quickly.
Wait, we already did internet videos, so let's say memes. Maybe we already did fucking videos.
Memes.
We already did Oh no, we did music videos.
Fine.
Sorry, no, memes.
Okay, memes. Kevin Larney.
Kevin. Also, can we do this from the bottom up this time? Because sometimes I think we run out of steam towards the end, and we should try it.
I always think we pick up.
Oh, okay.
No, let's just do it top down.
Fine.
We can do
it. Kevin Larney. So it's fucking hell.
What's that song? Nina. You know, like Oopa, the fat guy dancing.
Nama Nama.
Yeah.
Nama.
Kevin Larney.
Can I do this one? Can I say this? Oh no, we already did that one. Sorry, fuck.
No, just say it. Like the point is get through it quicker. Sorry, no, so don't. Just say it. Say it.
No.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, I got one, and it's not a very good one.
Right.
It's Kevin J. Carney, Obama's former press secretary, who tried to make a bunch of memes about how he loved Guided by Voices.
Really, that's incredible.
But he's also like he's also the guy who's a spokesperson for Amazon, so he's the one saying, "You think they pee in bottles?"
Oh yeah. That guy is the darkest meme
he's the worst
available.
So
Rachel Deckard, what about Rachel Dolezal?
Yes, that's great. Yeah. So that's just like that was the lady who pretended to be black for years, and
who genuinely believes she's black.
Yeah, I think
it's. Like, if there's ever a case for the transracial person, it's her. Because she so clearly believes it.
Yeah.
And she was part of the local chapter of the NAACP. Yeah. I think she still is.
I mean, I don't know what she's done for that community as well, but she didn't get to the position she was in by doing nothing. Let's say that, That's
it. I think they're just like, I guess she sort of is black. You know what I mean? Like, she's as black as anyone.
No, yeah.
Podcast
but edit that bit out.
But Podcast Naharan.
Podcast Naharan. That'll be Smodcast Naharan. That's Kevin Smith's podcast, Smodcast.
Yes.
What did he say? What is it? Fucking, the thing that he does. The
no.
Snoochie Boochies. That was it. That's what.
What's
it's
that?
Just some fucking dumb phrase from the View Askew universe of his movies.
Just like my catchphrase. Booyah.
Booyakasha.
It's funny that no one notices, or I sort of expected that to pick up. Because I've been saying it the whole time, but I haven't heard anyone mention it.
Yeah, that's funny, that isn't it? That's curious.
Mikey Finn. What about Spiky Finn, like on the left shark?
Yeah, on the left. That's great. That's brilliant. That's fantastic. Keep going. Yeah.
Ooh, dee. You know that?
Yeah, Katy Perry is in it, I think. It was a Super Bowl halftime special.
I never watched the video, but apparently it's just wilding out. Joanne Heffernan. What about like something with the snow? Snow in Kenya. Snow in Heffernan, Texas. Name's over in Texas.
Wait! I've got it.
Snow in Houston.
Joan Cat Heffernan or Heffernan Cat.
Heffernan Cat is very good. Benson. Ben from Lost.
Who's Ben from Lost?
I don't know. Ben.
Oh yeah, sad Ben Affleck son.
Yes. Yeah. Or you could have Johnny Depp with the son, and he's like, the one who's like, I know how to listen to good music, and then the Johnny Depp looks sad. He goes, "But we live in 2021,"
Oh, okay.
and then they hug because there's no good music anymore.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Francis
Yeah.
Francis Breen. What about
Oh, I got one. Francis Team Jedward.
two walking memes.
That's a meme.
Are they good looking?
Who? Jedward?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Did I say Team Jedward? I meant like Team Edward. And you remember like from Twilight and stuff. But actually, that's pretty good. No, Team Jedward, because Jedward do a lot of memes.
Like, I'm not sure how you got what is Francis Breen to Team Jedward.
Yeah, because... Yeah. Just
Okay.
Team Breen kind of rhymes.
Okay.
Are they good
What
looking?
about,
I don't know. I can't tell. Their faces are too babyish.
France, Francis Breen. What about France is Islamophobic?
Yeah, that's great.
Because of what was that cartoon, the racist cartoon?
Yeah, Charlie Hebdo.
Yeah, they were like, "We need to print this again." There's what people hadn't read it, being like,
yeah.
"I ordered a copy," and it's just like those racist
I know,
cartoons.
yeah. They're like just obscene. I love that Norman
Yeah.
Finkelstein was basically saying, they were asking him about when it got shot up. He's like, it deserved to get shot up. It was an awful place. And he was literally, really.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they should get shot
no.
off, but I also don't think you should be like, "It was good." Just be like, "Don't."
He was
shoot
literally
people."
like, I'm not surprised that happened. It's a disgusting publication.
Yeah. Simon Akers. What about
Simon's Cat Acres.
what's
Simon's
that?
Cat is like a big, it's like a little animation of a cat and just spawned all these books and humor books and stuff.
Booyah, booyah, that sort of thing.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
What about James's cat, where he says "booyah"?
Yeah. If you keep saying this, then like I'm not going to be able to edit it out as effectively as.
Mark Stokes.
So Mark Stokes. Oh wait, I got
what
one.
about-
It's going to be like Mark Folks, like the way people start off things online. Do you know?
Oh no! I
Mark,
hate
y'all
that.
folks aren't ready. I don't know.
Folks, y'all problematic.
Yeah, there you go.
You know,
Yeah.
folks, y'all Jewish.
Yeah.
Talking to the Israeli, y'all Jewish.
Yep.
Blahin de Burka.
What about?
No, yeah, Mark Maloney.
Yeah, fuck, I was.
What about Mark Felony? And is that really good looking mugshot?
Oh
of the
yeah, that's
guy
great. Yeah, it's a really good look.
Who got a modelling contract off the back
Yeah.
of it? Blahin de Burka.
There's another Charlie Hebdo one there.
Pure silent.
There's
What?
another Charlie Hebdo one in there, probably.
Why? What would that be?
It's a burqa.
Oh yeah. Bikini Burka.
Yes, brilliant. That was actually a meme at one point. Yeah.
It was a horrific meme where it was like the guys were ripping the bark off the woman on the beach.
Yeah.
That was fucking unreal.
Yeah. So
Alan Carroll.
there you go, Blahin. Hope you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hate crime. Perpetrated by the state.
Oh, speaking. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that another time.
Go on.
No, I was just thinking about some other people who were targeted by the state and had a sad story
Yeah.
to their.
Who Israeli?
No, I was going to say the Debenhams protesters.
Oh yeah. I talked about that on the
Yeah, the bonus Patreon,
premium.
the premium episode.
Alan Carroll.
Alan Carroll.
What about Alan Carr?
Alan Carr and yeah,
The pre-meme comedian.
yeah, exactly. My favorite comedian, actually.
Yeah.
You don't have to be crazy
Alan
to work
Carr-
here, but it helps. She's written it in
Yeah.
her own shit.
That is funny.
It's not bad. I thought it was alright. That's why I remembered it.
Rob Gale.
Oh, Rob Gale. Is there something like a whale? Is there a whale that's like a meme or something? Or is it like, or is there some Rob character, like a bad guy Rob or something? Or like,
I know
I'm
what you're
just typing
saying.
Rob meme. Sorry about this. I know
Dude,
it
that's
cheats,
a good.
but
It's a good option. Rob Gale.
there's a Robert Pattinson
about-
standing awkwardly in a kitchen meme.
Yes.
Yeah,
That'll do.
that'll do.
Rob, you got Robert Patterson standing in kitchen up with
Yeah.
me. And it's Rob, and he's like,
That's his natural
Rob's
habitat in somebody's kitchen, you know. And that's not a joke. That's an observation.
Rob.
Yeah. Anytime I've seen him, it's always been at like house parties and stuff.
I didn't know you knew Rob.
Oh yeah, I know him a bit.
Yeah.
I've met him a few times.
Stephen Bradley.
I'm actually going to type in Stephen meme. We've figured out something for this.
Stephen Bradley.
What
about Steven Seagal?
Oh, that's great, actually. Have you seen Steven Seagal do that guitar solo?
No.
Oh, it's so funny. It's just like do 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 do, and it just goes on like forever.
Oh, really?
And it's like he's like, oh, people are putting it up, going, how is he doing this? He's shredding that thing, and it's like the weakest solo that there's ever been. It's so funny.
He's so funny, and like this is something that they were just like, you know, Steven Seagal has claimed that he works with the CIA, and then he just is adamant. He's like, and then just people doing this deep dive into whether he has actually ever worked at the CIA, and he hasn't, which is almost unusual. Do you know what I mean? For like an actor like that. Richard Zimmerman.
Hold on. Richard Zimmerman. You know Cranky Richard, that famous meme? I'm just coming up with them.
Oh, Cranky Richard is so funny.
Where it's like he's got his arms folded and it's Cranky Richard and he's going like, I hate Palestine.
I hate Charlie Hebdo.
Yeah.
Cranky Richard says like, I remember when I was younger on Facebook, like during the heyday of Facebook, looking up like, you know, Longford memes, or you know, like St. Mary's Castle Bar meme, and it'd always be like, if you know who Cranky Richard is, you're from you know, the cool bar, you know, you're a true Mayo head, and it'd just be like a blurry camera photo of some guy, you know. Bridget Purcell. Snigget? Is that something? Snigget?
No.
Do you know what sneed posting is? Bridget Purcell. Purcell. You know, like cell batteries?
Yeah.
Elon Musk wants the
Yes, okay, yeah,
lithium.
cool. He wants to make electric power cell batteries.
And
he's a meme lord. He's the lord of the memes.
Did you see the thing before we went on SNL? He's like, what joke should I make on SNL? And they were all just like, you should be like, Epic Bacon runs, you know, like, this car runs on irony bacon.
I've listened to just the latest episode of Michael and Us, and they review the episode of The Simpsons that Elon Musk appears in. And it's the most sycophantic, awful thing. And eventually, like, Mr. Burns and him are working together, but Mr. Burns has to stop working with them because he wants to help people too much. That's his problem.
That's so fucking weird.
Like, so fucking strange.
Mr. Burns is like, I'm to you what Smithers is to me.
No, because
I'm secretly in love with you. And then like they just do all the clips where like Mr. Burns is like trying to upset. He's like horny for Elon Musk.
I don't know if you saw like how Elon Musk enters into the episode as well. Did you?
No, I didn't. I hadn't heard.
He literally, this is from a few years ago apparently, but he like descends in a rocket ship and he steps out, and then Homer's like terrified of him like he's an alien, and then Lisa says, no, Dad, that's Elon Musk. He created the electric motor or something, and then he gave up the patent so that, and transformed the way people in Hollywood drive.
Really?
Yeah. He's the greatest inventor of all time, I believe she says at one point.
He invented the Opa Gangnam Style.
Anyway, go on, yeah.
Milky Fox?
Milky Gangnam Style.
Kyle O'Neill?
Wait, I'm going to write in Fox meme.
No, that was good. Fine. Kyle O'Neill. What about Why You Always Lying?
Oh my fucking God, that is really good.
Why you
Always
always
lie.
lying?
Do you remember when we watched that and in fact the behind the meme for
Yeah.
that and found out that that guy didn't actually even write that song? He literally was doing a parody
That
of
was so weird. And he was like, here's the shirt I wore. It's like framed. Here's the
it.
toilet.
Stood on.
So,
I didn't even know he stood. I didn't even realize he stood in a toilet until he pointed it out.
that's it. Like, I couldn't remember anything about that music video
Yeah.
apart from the one line. And he's just like, I've got it all hermetically
Yeah,
sealed.
yeah.
Connor Barry.
Connor Barry. Give me a sec. Connor meme. Let's look this up. There's a Conor McGregor meme. Don't know. Do we want to do him like that?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, it's Conor
McGregor is almost so good. Like, except for the fact that he's a rapist and he, you know, has beat up people. But like that story where there was a guy who was making fun of his whiskey, so he punched him,
Yes.
and then he bought the pub just so he could bar him.
Are you serious?
That's funny.
I don't think he actually. By the way, he didn't. The guy wasn't making fun of the whiskey. He offered him the whiskey, and the guy was like, "I don't want to drink it," and he got really angry that the guy wouldn't drink it.
Well, that's still funny.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, Barry, Liam McCartan.
Liam McCartan. Now,
What about Leroy McCartan as opposed to Leroy Jenkins?
Liam McCartan, and he runs in.
Yeah,
Oh, Liam, you're dumb as hell. At least I got chicken.
I knew that was staged.
Yeah, I know. Don't tell. I don't like to think about it being staged though, because I really enjoy that meme. I
Yeah,
live in hope, I suppose. Whatever you say.
Liam McCartan, Leroy Jenkins,
Yeah.
Claire O'Newlawn,
Claire O'Newlawn.
Pear. You know, like Pear. You know the way in what's it called? Nickelodeon. They don't use Macs; they use Pear computers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that Drake and Josh show is.
Oh, Drake and Josh, iCarly.
Yeah, iCarly. That's all from the Schneiderverse, from another pervert.
Yeah. Are there any new Schneiderverse?
No, he got very quietly shit canned in 2015 or thereabouts.
He wrote excellent. What would you call them? Teen sitcoms.
Yeah, just kind of goofy, like he did the Amanda Show and Keenan and Kel and Drake and
Yeah.
Josh, obviously. Good Burger, all that, the sketch show.
I mean, you could watch them now and they hold up, you know?
Just a shame
Turn
about
off.
his awful alleged stuff that he did.
Well, one of it was very public when he was asking little girls for pictures.
Yeah,
of
but it
their
was
feet.
funny 'cause
like, that was incredibly well documented.
No, I love that because it was so funny because like, you know, there's the Amanda Show and it's like, I'm your number one fan. I have all these beats and the beats that look like feet. You could totally imagine it being like a goofy joke that would be on the
Yeah.
Amanda Show. But the fact is, it's like, wow, is this what you were plotting the whole time? Is just like to hide in plain sight. It's like, hey guys, why not do something weird and random? Like send me a picture of your feet or your stinky butt, you know?
No, McGillicuddy.
Niall McGillicuddy. God damn it. All right, let me tell you.
The trial of who's that guy? Tim Heidecker.
What about that guy who broke into those? He released all those college books. He was on Imgur. They were always talking about basically he released all of this information, these libraries of college books, and he ended up facing a jail sentence of literally like 100 years. And
Really?
so he took his own life, unfortunately. But he was always a big fan. Imgur.
What a meme.
On Imgur, they were always like, never forget this guy's name, which I've forgotten. Fuck.
Yeah. Ronan Carey.
I'm gonna get that guy's name. Hold on. Ronan Carey.
Oh, what about Tim Bone? Tim Bone and scary Reddit comments that he left. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, that was funny. I forgot about him. He was a sensible centrist who needed to be one round.
Yeah, and then they found out he was leaving like really weird comments on pornographic Reddit sites. Such a bizarre sentence, isn't it? The reasonable centrist was caught leaving weird comments on Reddit porn sites.
The exact size and dimension of Dan Schneider. Aaron Swartz was the hacker's name. So there you go.
Do you remember when Reddit first set up, or like a few years in, the biggest subreddit was got a jailbait,
Jesus.
and it was like like it was well like accepted that it was the biggest. It was called r/red gel bait, and then just on like pictures of underage girls being like, "This woman is sexy."
Jesus Christ.
It's so weird. Now they're trying to be like the respectable social media website, and it's just like you're literally a child pornography website at one point.
God.
Neve Kelly.
Neve Kelly, hold on.
There's definitely not a meme about Neve.
Meme Kelly is apparently something here. And they're a writer for the Huffington Post.
Ooh, oh yeah.
So that famous writer for the Huffington Post, Meme Kelly, that's you.
That's you, Neve. The only joke I can remember Obama making was he owned the Huffington Post.
Really?
And he was like, there's a lot of good journalists and the Huffington Post.
That's pretty funny.
At the correspondence dinner.
There was one or two that he did which were like, I don't know if they were funny because of the person who was making them or if they were actually funny, but I did like when he was talking about like military stuff and then he said like, he's like, we're making the Iron Man suit. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I was like, did he just say that?
Oh, that was epic.
Did the president just say that?
Did our president just say that?
Yeah.
What is the other thing that he did? One was he was running for president and they all have to appear on like WWE saying stuff, like not like in a cage match, but like little ads that they had before. And so they had John McCain's one and John McCain's was like, I'm going to introduce Osama bin Laden to The Undertaker. And then Hillary Clinton appeared and then she was like, what about that? What if the man of the match was a woman of the match?
No way did she say
she did, and
that's
awful. But then Barack Obama, he's like, and so I'm saying to all those fat cats in Washington D.C. or said something like that. And he goes, "Can you smell what Barack is cooking?" And he had that like,
that's very
and I was
good.
like, he had this goofy smile, and I was like, that's pretty adorable. That was kind of funny.
What would yours be?
Mine would be the first one that I came up with. Get her off with you. That would be my slogan. Like, get away from me. Get her off.
Yeah, leave me alone. Mine would be,
prepare for the dreams, and you'd say like pain.
Yeah. This is a real gun, and there are actually bullets in it.
What about
and this is a real knife, and I will shoot if you come anywhere near me.
You go. This is the reign of James.
Yeah. Paulie Doyle. What about this
Paulie
sister,
Walnuts.
McBoyle sister?
There's probably a Paulie Walnuts meme.
The McBoyle sister.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good to me.
She was good looking.
Was she? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I typed in Paulie meme and the first thing that came up was Paulie from Sopranos going, whoa, take it easy, or something like that, you know?
Look up the McBoyle sister.
And agree with me.
That's
what I need you to do.
What?
And agree with me. That's what I need you to do. That's what you want me to say.
I just think she's your type.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
You
Boom
just got
shakalaka.
You just got owned in front of all our Liger-pilled listeners. If he's so Liger-pilled, how come he's not a patron?
Who? Who's this?
The Liger-pilled
Oh,
guy.
okay. Call him out. Drag him. That's what I say.
Drag
Probably won't
him.
even hear this. Probably doesn't listen to the end of this.
Yeah. So if he listens this far, he seriously is Liger-pilled. And I'm very sorry for Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce.
All right, now we need a good one to take us home.
Boom.
Take us out.
Ba-ba-ba-da.
Give me seconds.
Da-da-dee-da. Da-da-da-da.
God, I was,
Doodle-doo-doo-doo. Look up Joe Joyce.
I'm looking. Stop singing.
Look up.
Well, actually, the funny thing is, I typed in Joyce meme. You're not even letting me say it. So
I am. I'm just saying. I'm find the backtrack.
there's already a backtrack on this. If you listen to this podcast, you'd know.
Joe Joyce.
So there's a meme, and it says, "Big Joe Joyce. He dips his hands in petrol." I'll just turn off your audio so nobody can hear this.
Just chill out.
You're ruining the show. Okay.
It's
Big
fine.
Joe.
The audience love it. They love
Big
this.
Joe Joyce. He dips his hands in petrol, and that's a meme that I found. So there you go.
Can I see it? Will you send it to me on WhatsApp?
Yeah. Oh, now you're listening. Okay. You know, I was trying to tell
I
you
was
2
listening the
seconds.
whole time.
Yeah.
I was listening the whole time.
Okay.
Send me that.
So Joe,
Send
what's
me
there something
that
with meme?
image.
Oh, probably something with Joe Biden. Although we wouldn't want to do him like that. You know.
No, we can do him dirty like
Okay.
that. Did you see the video of? Well, I'll talk about it on the Patreon as well. But the video where they pretended Joe Biden was driving the
Yeah,
car?
that was funny. I saw that. Yeah, that was great.
That was fucking weird. Because it's like, everyone knows that presidents aren't allowed to drive.
Is that
You know what I
true?
mean? Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, they could have just said, oh, sorry, he can't drive it. He's the president. But instead they were like, no, he's totally driving.
I love the
Because he can drive.
Well, I love the context for that clip as well, because he was there and he was like talking about like electric cars being built in Detroit and all this stuff coming back, and then a reporter who shouldn't have asked it this way, but they literally said, "Can I ask you about Israel?" And he's like, "God, only if you're prepared to get in front of this car so I can drive over you."
That's it.
He said that.
Like if Trump said that, there would have been a hullabaloo.
I know. His stupid fucking aviators, him revving off. It's like, I can't, like, you know, we could be giving out about, like, I always thought it was a bit rich to be giving out about, like, The Onion, as in, like, they didn't really do this,
Yeah.
but then you see those aviators in every single shot, and you're like, fuck, they really did a lot of damage by the way that they characterized
Yeah, I
Joe
know.
Biden.
So there we have it. Joe Biden.
Joe Biden Joyce.
Joe Biden. Joe.
All right, well, that's that. I
Joe
guess we'll
Biden.
just see you next week, or in the next episode.
You annoyed?
No, I'm not annoyed. I'm just anxious because it's like getting to a stage where I probably have to shut up because the walls are so thin.
Yeah, you have to go to bed.
I do have to go to bed because I have to be up at like 6 a.m., which is ludicrous for me. All right, cool. Bye-bye.